Welcome to Ethereum Cat Herders meeting 56. The first item on the agenda is progress on ECH website. Michael updated the issue on the GitHub with a link to get some feedback, and we had a meeting last Friday. Progress looks good so far. So I'll just go ahead and invite Michael to talk more about it.
Yep, thank you. So the link is on the GitHub. I've also posted the link for those that want to view it as we're talking about it in the Zoom chat. For the most part, we're, I would say, 96, 97% done. There are a few slight changes that we're just about ready to publish to production, or dev in this case, but ready to be viewed. Mainly, the biggest, most noticeable one is there's a slight issue with the responsiveness of the site. So that's just what we're resolving right now to make sure that we're consistently viewing and displaying the site based on the different screen sizes available. So that is priority one. And the last item to note that we need to add to the site is just a few copy details and just linking and hyperlinks to the existing assets that Ethereum Cat Herders already have. Things like under the network upgrades sections, just linking to the network upgrades and to the GitHub repositories, linking to the Medium blog, and then the Ethereum Cat Herders official YouTube page. So happy to field any feedback from the rest of the group. Otherwise, our tentative schedule is to have the responsiveness and remaining copy and hyperlinks published to the development website by late evening today. And then I will post an update on the GitHub issue. And if there's no objections, we'll go ahead and publish that to the live domain early morning tomorrow, or possibly even slightly after the updates have been published this evening.
This sounds good. Thank you so much for update. Michael, I have one last question for you, maybe related to moving it to the main Ethereum Cat Herders domain. So if the responsiveness task that you're talking about, if that is fixed, is it completely manageable to be published tomorrow, or do you need any further help with that?
I think right now tomorrow's a good date. So far, the work that we've implemented, just kind of testing individual pages before we implement the entire site, have been functioning as expected. I think right now what we're doing is just running it through various screen and device sizes to make sure that we're not running into any unforeseen issues. So it's less of an implementation issue at this point. It's more of a testing the changes and making sure that we're not missing anything.
Okay. So one thing that we discussed the other day about members, I'm sorry about the delay. We haven't finished the members document yet. Unfortunately, I could not share it with the group earlier. So I just have shared a link in the chat in which I'm trying to collect the details that can be added to the Ethereum Cat Herders website in About Us section. I have one question for this group. There is a section called Optional, which talks about company and role. Do we want to have it, or we would want to kind of maintain a distance from that? As I understand, the Cat Herders is a group of individuals coming from various backgrounds. They are working for different projects, different companies, but they are volunteering their time to perform certain tasks for Ethereum chain. So what is the general opinion here about having this section to kind of reflect back where does it work, or what kind of mix-up we have in this organization?
I'm not sure I fully understood again, what part of it is getting called into question?
optional section, company and role. So my proposed template is we are gonna add them into categories. One is member and another one is contributors, with name, a couple of lines about that person, an individual, GitHub profile link, Twitter profile link, and a headshot that we are looking for. So for headshot, you can pick up which headshot you would prefer, GitHub, Twitter, or you would want to provide another image. But there is a section about company and role. So this company and role is of that individual. Like suppose somebody is working for MakerDAO, so he can write MakerDAO and what he is doing at MakerDAO. So something similar to that. My question is, will it add value to provide information about the diversity of our group?
I'm all for that.
I mean, if it's an optional field, I don't see anything wrong with it. You know, that lets each person decide for themselves.
I agree.
Sounds good.
Cool. So if we are okay, this sheet is open for edit. Please go ahead and complete it with your information. And this would be with Michael as well. So Michael, you can take the information from here and update the website.
Perfect. Thank you very much.
I'm not sure I'm clear on difference between member and contributor. Are you able to say, Pooja?
Okay, so this group is almost 2 years old, and people who are for a very long time here, they are members.
That's older than 2 years. We started January 19.
19, yeah. Yeah, so over 2 years. So the criteria that we initially decided on members and contributors, people who are contributing for more than 6 months or so, or maybe heavily contributing within first few months, then we will be moving on to the members category. And people who are documenting notes and like not like involved in many other tasks that we are performing here, they would be for contributor. In general, most of the people can be member if they continue to be with the group for a long time. Does that answer your question, Shane?
Yeah.
Cool. I am hoping that this website should go live as soon as possible. And as Michael mentioned, that we are expecting everything to go right. So let's see if it works fine. Then we probably would be in a position to stream the Berlin upgrade call from the Ethereum cat herders website as well. Like there is a section in which we can watch the stream. Does anyone else have any question for this particular item? Thank you so much, Michael and Shane. I know you have helped a lot with the text that should go in. Thank you so very much for working on this.
No problem.
No problem.
Moving on to the next item, it's working group for Llvm catered for blockchain. So William left a comment to the agenda of the earlier meeting. You may follow the link with this item. So for more context on it, passing it on to William.
Yeah, I was having a conversation with a dev who would, at this point, rather keep his name out of things, his or her name out of things. There was some talk about this before, just to give some background on what the issue is. Solidity, for instance, when it gets compiled down into an intermediate language or an intermediate representation or IR, there's the same concept exists in non-blockchain languages also, or a lot of non-blockchain frameworks. One of the more famous of them is something called LLVM. The LLVM is kind of this multi-corporation standard that allowed a lot of people to build higher level abstractions on top of it. Basically, a lot of industry leaders got together and saw that there were certain things that they all needed kind of in the middle. And they were able to cooperate and make a standard, which made it easier for people to build languages, frameworks, other things on top of it. and we've identified a need for that in the blockchain space also. There are a number of different languages. There are a number of different blockchains at this point also, as in structures that are not necessarily purely EVM structures. And we could use a kind of streamlined middle layer to handle the languages on top of it from one end, and then connecting them to infrastructure, connecting them to blockchains on the other. So I was interested in proposing to the cat herders as a whole to maybe try and champion something like this. The way I see it right now is the first step would be assembling a working group. Then once there's a mass there for a working group to work on facilitating the working group's meetings, maybe that would mean hosting the meetings, maybe it would mean meeting notes, and after that, probably a certain level of ops. So I wanted to ask the cat herders if this could perhaps be an issue for us to try and champion for a bit. I'm willing to put time into it, just to be clear. Like I'm happy to spearhead the effort.
Sounds good. Yeah, I mean, I think getting involved with the new activities and more with communities tasks, it's a good thing. But yeah, I would like to hear other thoughts as well. If people have.
I guess it might be better for me to phrase in the negative. Is there anyone who absolutely does not want the cat herder's name attached to an initiative like this? And if that is the case, please explain why too. Okay, so in the event that we would create a working group, would it be possible to facilitate meetings and also have that added into kind of the meeting notes roster? Like what would need to be done for something like that to happen? Now, that's not immediate. Like the first step would be finding a working group. But in the event that we are able to create a working group, what would need to happen? Would I need to propose in another meeting kind of more formally to get it added into the notes roster?
To be very fair, adding that to the notes roster should not be a problem. But what we are doing at the moment is like we are adding notes which are related to community meetings, and those are actually being funded by Moloch or somebody to get that documented. So your expectation would that to be that meeting to be documented as well? Like it's a
yes.
Okay.
I would see it as going into the same category as a lot of the other technical efforts. I mean, it would be an effort. It's not like stateless Ethereum, but it is in the sense that it would be kind of an ecosystem-wide initiative to try and create a standard that benefits the entire ecosystem and even other ecosystems that are kind of in orbit around this ecosystem. So I would see it as fitting into kind of like the pantheon of different meetings that ECH does get funding for notes for.
Personally, I think that it can be a good task to get engaged with. But yeah, I would like to get more context of it. Maybe I would connect with you offline and get details of that. But definitely, this is something that we could work around and. Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
Great. And like I said, it's not like I have the group right here, right now anyway, right. Just talking about what might be in the future.
Right. So yeah, I was just about to mention that, but if people have any other opinion or maybe different from what we are thinking, so please go ahead and speak for it. Cool. Okay.
All right. And that's it from my end.
Thank you, William.
Thank you.
Moving on, the next item is events and community call. So as I mentioned earlier, we are planning to organize the Berlin Upgrade Countdown Community Call. There is an announcement blog on Ethereum Cat Herders Medium. This meeting is expected to start like an hour before the decided block number, but because this is variable, I'm not sure it's going to be somewhere midnight for Pacific time or maybe early morning EST. This will be this will be added in that Ethereum cat herders Discord, the join link, the invite would be provided there. We hope to have a great party over there. Next is EIP 3074 community call.
Sorry, just on that last thing. I mean, time zone wise, there's a decent chance, like it's during work for me, but there's at least a decent chance I can also have a tab open with it or something like that if you're trying to figure out who's able to make it and who's not.
Sorry, was that related to the earlier item you mentioned, or?
Yeah, that was no to Berlin.
Oh, Berlin. Oh,
what you just mentioned.
Cool. So yeah, the plan is like I'm expecting Tim Baiko to be sharing screen and the cat herders to be talking about the proposals. We have invited a few EIP authors whose proposals are getting in the upgrade. So we'll have a good discussion on Ethereum network upgrade in general. If there are any questions around how we see Ethereum going upgrade in Ethereum going forward, or maybe about any proposals, all questions are welcome. So there is this link of a Reddit post that we published earlier. If people have questions, they can go ahead and write it over there, or you're always welcome to post a question in Ethereum cat herders Discord general channel. We're going to pick it up if it is for any particular author or any particular individual that is shown up in the meeting. Anything else on this part? Like if anyone else has any question, comment? Okay. So the next community call we are planning to have is for EIP 3074. So author and champion of this proposal are working so hard to put it on the mainnet. So for that, they are collecting questions for community, trying to answer it on different forums, but they have requested Ethereum cat herders to organize a community call to answer any unanswered questions. There are tons of documents they have shared. So currently this proposal is on testnet, and an audit is being planned with the help of Ethereum Foundation so that they make sure that this is good from the point of view of security of an individual user. I have created a draft for the announcement. Here is the link. Let's see. And I'm expecting this to be published soon. Please bear with me for a minute. I hope this is visible, although it is in like draft and I'm not sure if it is not. Can someone confirm if it is visible?
I'm checking
yeah,
now,
we can
but
see it.
I'm okay. Yeah, I was about to say I'm added. I think I'm added in the publication, so it could be I have superpowers. But yes, I am able to see it too.
Okay. Okay, no worries. So yeah, we hope to publish this announcement blog very soon, and this contains a list of resources that is currently available for this proposal. And yeah, we are planning to have this call on April 26th. Like time will be noon ET. Okay, so that's all about this. The last item under the event section is CoinDesk's upcoming Consensus 2021 event. For Ethereum, there would be speakers talking about the protocols and proposals on May 25th. For execution layer and consensus layer, like earlier year, we have coordinated for speakers to participate in, and we have quite a few list of speakers. Like we are trying to talk all about Ethereum 1.0, the roadmap updates and improvement proposal. There is a talk on scaling DeFi with Nick Johnson. And for consensus layer, we will have a talk on merge and state of E2 and Kati commitments. I think there is one more. Yeah, Superfetch and Michael, from the Envatica, they are also talking on start staking and become an ETH2 validator. I'm going to publish a blog of providing the details of it, who are the speaker, what topic they are going to speak about, and some, 2-3 lines about how it is, like what you can expect in that talk. So yeah, I expect this blog coming out soon, maybe early next week. So don't forget to tune in on May 25th for Ethereum's talk. The next item on the agenda is ECH funding and fund management. Unfortunately, I do not see Hudson here on the call today. There was some discussion, some recent interest from ESP people to, kind of fund some of the tasks that cat herders are performing. We are working towards it. I'll wait for Hudson to provide more details on that. For Moloch Guild, I do not have any further update since the last meeting. We are at the same state and we haven't applied for the further grant yet, but yeah, I'll look into it soon. There was this item which was brought a couple of weeks ago about a yield-bearing instrument for the Ethereum cat herders funding. I don't know if Edson or William, any of you would like to talk about it.
I'll admit that I've been much more negative about it in the past. By now, I think I've calmed down from my negative sentiment a bit. Previously, I had felt that DeFi had not had enough battle testing, and that while the allure of being able to earn interest on funds sounded good, the ability to lose those funds due to protocol hacks or things like that outweighed any potential benefits. I'm more neutral now. So if there would be strong, like a strong desire from others to put our funds there, I wouldn't block it. That being said, I still am at least somewhat concerned about loss of funds while trying to make more out of them. And definitely do believe that our priority has to be being the cat herders as opposed to earning yield with whatever funds we have to do whatever it is that we're doing. But again, if there's strong sentiment in favor, I'd be neutral to it.
So I think we'd have to consider how much we would deposit, because considering gas fees, because the amount we deposit would have to be more than the gas that it would cost. And then say we deposit a lot, can't deposit too much, otherwise we can't pay people immediately. So it'd be enough for it to bear interest long enough for us to withdraw it at a later time and still be positive, considering gas. So that's a little
playing devil's advocate, the initial gas complaint is certainly true, but if people who are being paid out don't mind receiving A tokens or any other kind of interest-bearing token, then technically they wouldn't have to be unwrapped. As in, if the funds were deposited, like, if we took DAI funds and put them into, say, your Vault and got YDAI out, so then theoretically, if note takers are willing to receive YDAI instead of DAI, at least you'd save the latter transaction there and keep things in an interest-bearing instrument, assuming that I have the systems right. I'm not the biggest expert in DeFi, so it could be that my understanding there is off.
Yeah, I'd be willing to accept compound USDC, for example. I mean, that would be fine with me.
So, I mean, the initial point about losing funds to gas to move them is certainly very true, and it's something that would need to be considered. But at least the payouts would be identical to any other ERC20 payout, assuming that it was in something like CUSD that people would be willing to receive.
Okay, I see one more comment from Pedro. I'm also willing to get CDAI or CUSD. So it's my personal comment on this particular item. I am not very sure on getting it into some or the other DeFi because this is like, community fund, it's as I mentioned, it's all my personal. I'm not saying on behalf of the multi-sig signer, but I wouldn't be a blocker if people think that that is the right way to proceed with.
Do we have someone who's capable of actually figuring out how much we'd stand to earn? Like someone who can understand, like, how much we're likely to lose for gas or on any other transfers or costs, and how much we might be able to gain?
Yeah, I mean, it just all depends on the capital we put in, right? So the more capital we put in, the more
percentages
gain.
I mean, you're right that the gas won't be a percentages, but like just an understanding, like at what point we'd have enough critical mass to make it worth it, so to speak.
Yeah, I mean, I think anyone can do that calculation. Because
I personally would not know where to start. They are, I guess. Okay, I see what you're saying. I mean, are you able to do that? Like to figure out at what point we would start turning profit on it? I mean, gas prices aren't a constant, so you'd probably have to take some kind of average of gas prices over 24 hours, over a week, or something like that.
I mean, the gas price would be an initial payment.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but I'm saying if you're calculating profitability, you'd need to know theoretically the exact gas price, which is impossible, but you could, like, get the median out of the last week or something like that.
The only issue with that is the gas price for Gnosis would be different than the gas price for MetaMask.
So, you're talking about the initial signing.
Yeah, because with the
you need to know how many units that is.
You can interact with Compound directly.
Right. So you didn't know how much gas costs to move things out of the multi-sig to begin with.
My guess it would be $50 per person. In gas.
Okay.
Per transaction, or what do you mean by per person?
Per signer.
Person that signs it.
Oh.
I think the initial transaction you need to
the last transaction is
you need
heavier,
to prove
isn't it?
And then the deposit would be $50.
Let's try and dig into this a bit. Do you mind digging into this and just kind of getting an idea for how much it would cost to move the funds, and then based off of compound returns, how much would need to be there over what period of time for it to be profitable?
Yeah, Pooja, could you send me the multi-sig address again? Just to see how much funds we'd be moving.
Yeah, let me quickly get it for you.
We should also do a risk assessment for risk. For example, when we used to keep stuff in the original DAI, which is now called Psi, when Ether crashed, that cashed out to Ether, and so there's risks like that. We should assess those kind of risks.
I personally wouldn't know how to start, like on a professional level, to do that. Do you have an idea how to do that, Brent?
Yeah, I could look in
or
and
anyone
see
else.
What's backing it, and for example, if you're staking and your machine gets slashed, you lose your stake, and so those are there. I'm aware of some of those.
On Compound?
No, not on Compound, but I just know if you're just purely staking
for ETH2
for ETH stake. Yeah, for
ETH2.
ETH2. If you're staking for ETH2 and your node gets slashed, you lose a portion of your stake. So
okay, I mean that's for ETH2 staking specifically. I don't think that we're putting up 32 ETH. Also, as a very big aside, if your node goes down for being offline, the amount that you lose is not that high. It's more like you lose your opportunity to get than you actually lose. You lose a little bit, but it would take like an entire year to drain your 32 ETH reserves of being offline. The only time you really seriously get slashed on ETH2 is if your node's doing malicious behavior, or if you have two nodes that are running off the same key pair.
Right. Is there a chance of that happening just from a defect in the software that you failed to update or something like that?
Yeah,
very unlikely. But we're not really doing ETH2
at this moment, anyways.
Right. Yeah. Anyway, my idea is just we should probably do at least a little bit of risk analysis for where we're
absolutely.
Put our money.
Yeah, absolutely.
So it's an I have DM'd you on the Discord. Unfortunately, that is like on my different machine. So I messaged you from a different machine. You can look into that. And yeah. So do we want to like continue on this for a couple of more minutes discussing on this, or people think that we should bring it up again in the next meeting with when we have like kind of assessment on that?
I would personally say let's give it some time for research and bring it up by the next meeting. What does everybody else think?
Yeah, I think giving some more time to it would be a good idea. If we plan to decide in this direction, it's important to get some assessment of the risk or whatever fund is needed initially as an investment. Maybe we are losing in deposit or gas or whatever. So I'll be happy to bring it up in the next meeting. Is that fine with you, Itzen?
Yeah, it's fine. I'm looking at the assets right now. I'm not sure if we have enough to make it worth it, but I'll give an update next meeting.
Sure. Thank you so much. So the next item is meeting notes. Thank you to all the resources of Ethereum cat herders. This time we have all the meeting notes done on time. As I suggest that if people are available and they would like to go ahead with the notes that they have documented, giving summary, like if there was something important that was mentioned, or a kind of like highlighting what was the main theme of the meeting, feel free to go ahead. We have merge, all coder meeting, ETH2 implementers, and EIPIP meetings documented.
Yeah, the merge call, the first one, that was quite fun to be a part of. Took me slightly longer to do those notes than I thought it would, just because it was the whole meeting was screen shared, so I couldn't see who was speaking at any given time. But the content of the meeting was Mikhail taking teams through the merge application layer, high-level design doc, and that seemed to generate quite a bit of useful tech discussion.
Cool.
Yeah, just one quick comment on the notes. First, thanks everybody, much appreciated. And if I'm slow in reviewing the PRs, please ping me again. One thing that's really helpful is when people just add like the one line to the README, like on the all core devs, where you just say like this is the call number and the link to the notes, link to the agenda and whatnot. Yeah, so if people can just try and do that, it's really helpful, because then it makes sure they stay up to date.
Wait, sorry, which document do you mean?
So if you go to the Ethereum PM repo, in the README, there's like this previous meetings table. And I think most repos have that. Yeah, so most repos have like an equivalent of this. I think the merge ones still don't, but it's on my list of things to do to set up a page for it. So whenever the page is done, basically, I did that. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, the merge meetings also has one, and the different meetings all have one. Yeah. So just like adding a line there alongside with your notes PR makes it really easy for people who come in and just want to see, I'm looking for this meeting, or I want to look at all the past meetings. Yeah.
And do it in reverse order. Yeah. Whenever I do notes.
Good point.
Yeah. A lot of people, in other words, when I check mine in, oftentimes the 3 or 4 previous note takers haven't added that, but I update it and update so that's always up to date when I commit do my commit.
Yeah, and I guess it was helpful to bring it up, because not everybody was aware it even existed. So like, yeah, it's fine that people didn't do it and whatnot, but it's just like a small thing that helps keep it all in order and make it easy for people who come in to just want to see all the notes.
So on the merge meeting note part, Shane, I mentioned it to Mikhail, and we had a chat about it before the meeting with the ETH2 team as well, because for the ETH2 implementers call also, there was some technical issues. we brought it up to them, and we'll try that even if it is screen share, at least the speaker's name is highlighted. Although the last implementers meeting, because of some technical difficulties, we could not even see anything on the screen. It was just a plain black screen. So apologies for the difficulties you faced, but we hope to get it fixed from next meeting onward. And talking about that, the next meeting is this week. I just have put Pedro randomly. Pedro, if you are uncomfortable or you could not do the notes for that, because I found you the most available one, do let me know.
Tell me again, which meeting and when?
There is this new ECH merge meeting that started last, I think 2 weeks ago. On Thursday, it's going to be the second meeting. I think the time is 1200 UTC on Thursday.
Okay, and you are assigning me for the one that passed or for the one coming?
Coming up.
Okay.
I mean, if it is,
yeah. I mean, I can do it. Yeah, I'm not super available, but I think I can take on this one. Yeah.
Okay, so we just want to make sure, like, if anybody else is interested in documenting these notes, please feel free to let me know, and I will start scheduling other people. Otherwise, so far only we have Shane, who did the first meeting notes.
I have an update, by the way.
I have.
Can you guys hear me?
Sorry, Edson, did you just mention that you would be interested in doing it?
Oh, no, sorry. I had an update for the calculation. I just did it. So say we deposit our DAI, it would pay itself off in 2 months. And then say we deposit all the USDC, it would pay itself off in 6 months. So after 6 months, we'd be making, considering the gas cost was like $100.
And after that, APY is hanging where? Around 5%, 7%?
So yeah, it's right now, just those are projections based on the current APY. So DAI is at 4.3 and USDC is close to 7% right now. Obviously,
let's take the rest of this conversation offline about the calculations.
Right.
Maybe we'll take it to the ECH Discord.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, cool. Thanks.
Thank you, Edson. So yeah, anyone else, if they have documented notes and would quickly like to share about it, like just 2-3 lines would be good enough.
Yeah, I can talk about this. The last one I did, the EIP improvement process meeting, number 30, and basically just 3 outcomes. It was discussed to split the EIP and ERC repos, and but while minimizing the overlaps in the numbers. And so it was agreed to offset them somehow, and that Lita would probably take on this one. Then also it was agreed the location of the JSON RPC spec, it will be hosted under the ETH1.0 specs repo. And lastly, in the EIP process, there was an agreement to remove the testing green light box that wasn't doing anything. And that's it.
Great, thank you. Thank you for bringing it up about EIPE and ERC GitHub repositories that people are planning to separate. So on the number part, we have further updates, and that is added on the issue section of EIP GitHub repository, how we are planning to work with the deal with the issue of numbering EIPs and ERCs. So if people are interested, feel free to follow the repository. Cool. So we have all these.
I have a question. Very briefly, I have a question about the assigning of note taking to people. There's your spreadsheet that kind of shifts people to take notes from different meetings every time. And I'm just wondering if it has always been like this, where you get to take notes on different meetings every time, or if it has ever been that a person or a group of people are assigned to a given meeting, like permanently. The reason I ask is that I find it cool that we shift, because you get to hear different things about Ethereum in general. But then the downside is that there's some, I find it hard to catch up every time that I go back to, let's say, the all core devs meeting, because it's been maybe, I don't know, a month since I last did it, and maybe it's valuable to have some continuity. I don't know. Has it always been like this?
So the schedule there, like on front of date and time, that is divided. That is decided by the meeting, and yes, it has been there, just like that. But the person who is responsible for documenting notes is decided by us, the Ethereum cat herders group. Generally, I schedule people looking into a few criteria that not one person should be assigned for 2 weeks, 2 notes in a week. And maybe if people are selective, they do not want to do more technical notes, they just want to do a little less technical, like maybe EIP, IP or ECH meeting. So I do not put them to all core dev or ETH2 meeting. So it's flexible, and yes, we are open to suggestions if you have any for, like, getting it adjusted, or how frequent you would want to see yourself there.
Okay, thanks.
So Pedro, it sounds like you're interested in possibly just doing one meeting, for sure, not every week, but just consistently do that one rather than rotating around. Is that what I hear you saying?
Yeah, this is exactly, yeah, what I meant. Most meetings are once every 2 weeks, and yeah, I thought that maybe if I did the same meeting constantly, I could get better continuity and understanding.
I'm all for that, especially since I can't even do technical notes like that, so I can't volunteer for those.
So the reason I have distributed in this fashion, because every meeting has different payouts and a different level of engagement. I was just trying to be fair with everybody to get an opportunity to be a part of one or the other meetings, and the payouts, the variable payouts they should be receiving at their end. So I'm not very sure that.
Sure, that actually makes a lot of sense too. Yeah, I think that's fair. Yeah, just for my understanding, would it be okay? Yeah, if I have a proposal to maybe take over one of the meetings permanently, I guess the group would be open to hear that.
Right. I think the best that can be that I can offer you right now, if you want to go ahead with only one kind of meeting, I would be happy to schedule you for that particular meeting, but may not be possibly every other meeting you would be getting. Maybe on rotation basis, like if other people are also interested for doing that meeting, you will be there on the schedule, but maybe after 1 or 2 meetings. Does that make sense?
Okay, yeah. I just have to say that it's not a huge deal. It was more curiosity than actual like strong necessity.
No worries. William, sorry, were you trying to say something?
No, it passed. It's okay.
Okay. So anything more on meeting notes?
Is this the all core? Okay. Let me go through this. So for the all core devs, essentially, the core devs agreed to use geological faults for testnet names, which is pretty cool. They're postponing EIP 3074 for security reasons and for outreach reasons, which Pusha talked about earlier, and the cat herders is going to be involved with. The BLS precompile, the core devs appear to be like they appear to want to do both the precompile as well as the EVM based approach, which is basically just like doing BLS curve, but on EVM using some arithmetic optimizations, which would enable that with like 2 to 3x performance decrease. And then, yeah, Micah, I remember here, Micah mentioned that the precompile is easier to manage because the core devs don't have very many great cryptographers. So they agreed to include 1559 in the base fee opcode as the first EIPs within the I believe within Berlin, but really in the first DevNet for Berlin. So delay discussion on the second DevNet until next meeting. That's another one. And then there were some other action items. Update your node. People are supposed to update their nodes to prepare for the hard fork. Tim to upload the spec to ETH1 repo for the 1559 changes. And then a couple 3074 things. So overall, yeah, that's it. Any questions or comments or concerns?
Thank you, Alita, for this. Thanks for the reminder. So people, if you are running Ethereum node, please go ahead and upgrade, because upgrade is like expected in less than 48 hours, I believe. I'm not sure. I didn't check the recent one, but yes, that is like kind of expected timeline. And even if you are not working directly on ETH1, but trying to run a validator node on ETH2, please update it as soon as possible. Moving on, the next item is PEEP and EEP. So in the past couple of weeks, we did 2 PEEP and EEP. The first one was for EIP 2124, that is fork identifier for chain compatibility checks with Felix Lang. This proposal is basically helping with discovering nodes, and it proposes a new identity scheme to summarize chain's current status. This is already implemented in ETH 65. It's an interesting proposal, especially for new folks. Overall, a good watch. Another proposal that we discussed was EIP 3198 base fee opcode with Rai from the BESU team. This proposal adds an opcode that gives the EVM access to the block's base fee. Currently, it is on Elute testnet for London with EIP 1559. It's a simple proposal, but we had good conversation to follow. I'm going to release this video later today. We just had this recorded on Friday, so I'm going to release it today. For these proposals and any other proposals, there is a playlist on Ethereum Cat Herders YouTube, PEEP and EEP. Feel free to visit there to watch all Berlin proposals and upcoming London proposals. In the forthcoming weeks, we are expecting to have a conversation with AFRI on difficulty bomb. And yeah, we are also in touch with authors of refund proposal, planning to have that scheduled maybe next week. Any questions or comments on this? With this group, I mean, I have a special request. I think these resources are really important for new people coming to Ethereum, or people who have generally more questions on what Ethereum is going to, going to include, like which proposals are getting included. Feel free to share it. Like, I think more sharing will be very helpful for all the new developers who are trying to understand how Ethereum works in general. So I think we are good in time. Before we go ahead with the issues and pull request, I see a new member, Firefly's AI note taker. So would you like to, I think this is your first time. Would you like to introduce yourself? Sorry, I missed you in the beginning of the meeting.
It's an AI bot. Fireflies is a voice-to-text AI bot. I don't know whose it is, though. I mean, I kind of assume. Yeah. Does anybody have any idea who put that in?
It's not mine.
Okay, and so I'm wondering if it's a real person here or just a bot who joined our meeting today.
No, Fireflies is a
Bots are
bot.
people too.
We have AI joining Cat Herders now.
Oh, no worries. Let's move on. So in PM section, yeah, we are making good progress on the website part. I think that would be closed soon, and I don't see any new item there. On funding side, there are a lot of open issues. I think some of them have already been funded, and it's still open. So please check if it is done. I mean, if you have received the funding, because on our end, it shows the transaction completed, close the issue. And for a few issues that we could not initiate the payout, I'm going to do it today after this meeting. Hopefully it will be done soon. So coming up to the last item, review of outstanding action items from the previous meeting. Oh, meeting link is bad.
I just put the current leap in the chat, the good link.
Okay, thank you, Brent. I don't know, sometimes my machine decides to be real slow. Okay,
Was that the right link?
So decision 1 suggests Shane will provide text and Pooja will provide the team's info to be added on the new website. Michael will have a look. We just have started the sheet today and we hope to get it done soon. Anyone in the meeting today or listening to the meeting, if you have been a contributor to Ethereum Cat Herders and you would want to see yourself uplisted on the website, feel free to add your response to the Excel sheet I shared today. Pooja will publish the Berlin announcement blog for before the ACT meeting. That is already done. We have 2 upcoming blogs, one for the announcement of a community call and another one for the participation from the Ethereum side very soon. I don't see any further action items, so that's all from the agenda listed today. Does anyone have anything else to bring it up for the meeting? Sounds all good. I hope to see you all tomorrow or day after tomorrow, whatever it is for you. I know the timing is not very good for people in United States, but try to be there. It's a Cat Herders event, and yeah, we'll have a lot of fun there. I hope so. See you all in 2 weeks. Thanks for joining us today.
Wait, what time is the event tomorrow?
Choose.
Is it like 3 a.m.?
For me, it is like, yes.
That's perfect. Okay, cool. I'll definitely. So is that like tonight then, basically?
Not tonight, tomorrow.
No, tomorrow night.
Okay. Sounds good.
And is there a link to more info about that?
There's a Medium post on Ethereum Cat Herders.
Oh, okay. Thanks.
Do you mind sharing, like?
I will share it in the Discord.
Well, a calendar event, just so that way I have like something.
Yeah, sure. I'll add it. Yep, no problem. So yeah, I mean,
calendaring, if you could throw me into, that'd be great.
Sure, I'll try to add all of the Ethereum Cat Herders people. So I mean, we are trying to make this event open for all. So definitely, I'm going to share the Zoom link on the Discord of Ethereum Cat Herders. I hope no spam, no bot should spam us.
Yeah, I was thinking you might not want to put that in the general channel. I mean, you're streaming to YouTube, right?
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
So if you're streaming to YouTube for general, you can give the YouTube link and then keep the Zoom link in internal. That would be my thoughts, but whatever, however you want to do it.
Yeah. So yeah, I mean, let's try to give it a little more thought on that. Like we will try to monitor the Zoom link, even if it is provided, then maybe some kind of checks if we can add to it. We don't want it to be spammed like the other meeting. So yeah, hope to see you all day after tomorrow, and for the Berlin meeting, countdown meeting, and for the ECH next meeting in 2 weeks. Thank you all for joining.
Thanks.
Cheers. Thanks for running this, Pooja.
Thanks, all.